idea what had happened. I don't think it was an earthquake somehow. No, I still think it wasn't an earthquake.
John Roberts wasn't the only one shaken that day. Hugh Edwards thought he saw a flying saucer.
I saw this object come in, a long mountain, the size of a bus really, wider in the middle, came across the mountain towards the road there. As it went over there, it dipped, like it was going to crash. It dipped out the sight to the valley. Well, I'd heard so much about flying saucers, and I thought, well, this is it. The only sound I heard was like a shh going through the air. I was very surprised to see it, really.
The district nurse thought perhaps a plane was down.
I thought there might be an air crash. Maybe as a nurse we could help giving first aid. So I called to my daughters and we got into the car and we made our way up to the mountain. We drove a fair way along the mountain road and to our left we could see a huge orange ball sitting on the mountain, glowing.
Yeah, we stopped and we started looking what we thought was going to be an aircraft on fire.
We'd envisaged sort of, oh God, you know, there might be bodies if it was an aeroplane crash. We weren't too happy at that prospect. We were quite surprised to see this big reddish orange ball just sitting there.
There were no flames. I mean, it was so uniform. The shape, the round spherical shape of it made us realise we weren't looking at an aircraft. There were no flames jumping. It was pulsating, this red orange object that we saw.
And we could see little lights, like fairy lights, coming towards the object in a zigzag pattern, and we assumed at that time possibly there was someone going to see what was what.
With hindsight, we realised that the search party couldn't have got there, located it and got there in the time it had taken us to go from the village up to the mountain. Yeah. No one could have organised themselves to get to the object that we saw.
Since no search party went out that night, nothing was ever found at the scene. But astronomer Ron Madison has proposed that what the villagers saw that night was a meteorite or fireball, and that it coincided with an earthquake at a nearby fault.
Thinking that that explosion might well have been due to an impacting piece of rock, our first reaction was to try to estimate the energy involved. And it seemed to us to be something that would correspond to an explosion of the size of about 600 tons of TNT. We got letters from as far apart as Penzance, Northern Ireland and Derby, all reporting seeing a bright light, maybe comparable with a half moon in brilliance, moving across the sky at the speed of an aircraft but with no sound, and trailing smoke, just like you would expect something on fire to be crashing. In the next few days we were to realise, of course, that the village was not very far from the Bala Fort, which is active and has been moving steadily over thousands of years. And unbeknown to us at the time originally, there had been on that evening a movement on the fort, and that is incontrovertible evidence.
Nay.
This was a coincidence.
Wrong.
There were fireballs in the sky at the same time that there was a triggered movement along the Bala Fort.
Was related.
Another highly publicized British sighting proved equally attributable to natural causes, but not before many believed that they too had seen a UFO. In March 1981, policeman Derek Ingram saw and photographed what many thought to be an alien craft that had landed on a fell or hillside.
I was in the kitchen of the police house at Cracow. I looked out across the fell, the kitchen window back onto the fell, and I saw a very intense bright light, a big band of light,
on the rock face of the fell. I watched the light for maybe 10 minutes. I thought it was worth taking a photograph of. It was unusual. I actually drove up onto the hill and walked across the fell to try and find something on there, maybe something had been dropped or something had happened. There was nothing up there. I couldn't find anything at all that would explain the lights.
The faithful saw a thin craft with 3 lights, and as the press had a field day, researchers tried to identify the visitors.
Good luck.
After photographs
Reptilian.
had been taken, the negatives were given to the Yorkshire UFO Society.
It's a reptilian
Who spent 2 years
craft.
investigating the case. They sent the negatives to Ground Source Watch in America and to a very well-known German UFO photographic analyst. Neither groups of people could come up with a satisfactory explanation, and in fact Ground Social Watch actually said snow was the best possibility for it. In 1983, the Yorkshire UFO Society went public with the case,
The faithful saw a thin craft with 3 lights, and as the press...
Check it out. There's a reptilian craft right there. Got one head in the back, one on the top, and one on the front. And look what's on top of it, the shadow. Like a dinosaur. That's exactly like the one of New Orleans. Look at this one in the back. That's part of the craft itself. The rest of the craft is not visible because it's dark. It's a typical reptilian, and they go into the mountain. There's something in the mountain, probably an entrance to a base deep underground. People don't know that or didn't know that back in those days. Now we do. It's no longer unidentified. Now we know it's a IRO, Identified Reptilian Object. Look at the picture from the newspaper, and you see the entities right behind it. The reptilian entities are all clear right there. I can compare them exactly with the ones in New Orleans. Like I say, that's a reptile head, look. That's another head. Another one in the center. Another one in the back. Like a dinosaur. And they project their reality, interdimensional reality, all around it, from the top to the bottom. Look at the top.